Brilliant. Thanks, Ellie. Thank you. And if you're happy to share your screen again, thanks so much. Okay, so yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our Discover University Student Experience panel, covering balancing coursework and life, looking after your mental health while studying at the University of Exeter. Thank you so much for joining us. During this panel, you will hear some of our current University of Exeter students discuss their journey to university, their experiences with this topic at university, as well as any support or advice that they've received along the way. I will talk to you through some background information about the support offered at the University of Exeter specifically, and then you will have the opportunity to ask the panel any questions that you have about being a student here. But first, we're going to cover some housekeeping before we begin. So yeah, Ellie, next slide. Thank you. A reminder that this session is being recorded for safeguarding reasons in the unlikely event of an incident. The recording will also be uploaded to YouTube later in the year, so it can be rewatched at a later date or as a resource for anyone who wasn't able to attend this evening. Again, if you haven't already, please change your name to your first name and the first initial of your surname. For those of you watching live, please use the chat to put any questions that you may have as we go along. We'll prioritize those questions in the chat and we will do our best to get through them all. So if you've got a question now, pop it in and we'll get to your question. Some of these topics can be quite tough, so please do be mindful of what you're asking or discussing in the chat, as every experience, of course, is different. If you are affected by anything at all that is covered today, or you feel that you need to report a safeguarding issue, please feel free to contact the email on screen. Okay, so next slide, please, Ellie. Thank you. Okay, so just covering a bit of advice and support before university. So for example, if you have a disability or any concerns about your mental health before coming to university, you are more than welcome to contact our disability advisors to explore your options and have support put in place before you even get there. The team can help you to create a plan. This is known as an individual learning plan, and liaise with your department to recommend any study adjustments. For example, exam arrangements. They can help you to apply for specialist one-to-one support and equipment. They can help you to access support arrangements for specific accommodation, car parking permits. They can direct you to other services that can provide support at the university and locally. We can also offer support if you let us know about any issues that you may have in terms of, for example, we call this declaring your disability. You can let us know about it at any time during your studies or before you start studying with us. Next slide. Okay. We have different service providers here across our campuses, but wellbeing services are available across our campuses to provide free advice, guidance, support. This could be through like counselling, it could be through courses, etc., many other ways. You can access the support in a variety of different ways. You could access support through drop-ins, for instance. You could do it through email if you prefer it to be in writing. You can do it over the phone if you prefer to speak it through. You can also access support through your academic tutor, who will guide you to the right contact details. Next slide. Just going through mental health again, another way to look after your mental health, whether you're at university or whether you're still in college now, is to take breaks. And if you're at university, the Students' Union and the Exeter Guild have a variety of clubs, societies, and events all year round for you to get involved with, from niche sports to classical singing. There's a group for you to join. Residence Life, known as Res Life, is a fantastic way of getting support and getting involved in university life. Living away from home, it can be intimidating when it's for the first time. And So getting the support that you need shouldn't be at all. So there's lots of support for you when you come to university, and it's all can be a bit nerve-wracking when you're coming to university for the first time, but we are here to support you 100%. Next slide. Okay. Oh yeah, peer support. So what's peer support about? So we pair first year undergrad students with second to final year undergraduate students, mentors across disciplines. We have 27 plus schemes, including mature student peer mentoring, disabled student peer mentoring, carer, care leaver and estranged peer mentoring, MFL, PAL, global chums. Oh, there's so many, as you can see. Like, wow, you can see them all on the slide. I won't list them all. You can see them all on the slide. There's so much support. These schemes will match you with mentors before you arrive. If you do come to university here before you arrive in September, and they're across all campuses. So yeah, do check out all these schemes that we offer. Next slide. Great. So how does it work? Okay. So for the disabled student, mature student, and carer, care leaver, and estranged student schemes, how it works is you sign up pre-arrival. So once offers are confirmed in August, you'll receive an email, or you can find links to our sign-up forms on our website. You will be matched with a mentor based on your preferences, and the team try really hard to match you with someone that fits in well with your preferences quite well. You get to meet with your mentor however you like, as mentioned before, however that works for you, whether you're more in person, whether you're more writing, that kind of thing. For any other schemes, you would sign up in term 1 or 2 as appropriate. Next slide. Okay, and of course, yeah, contact us. If you have any questions, get in touch before you join us. So you can look out for emails from or get in touch with peer support at exeter.ac.uk. So yep, I'd take a note of that email address if this is something that you would like to have at university, and you can check out a full list of our schemes at the link below, x.ac.uk/peer support. Next slide. Oh, and you can follow us on Instagram as well. Look us up on Instagram. Great. So that's me doing a quick whistle stop tour. So now I'm going to move on to our amazing panelists that we have joining us today. Thank you so much for being here. So, yep, when I call on you, can you please introduce yourselves, what you're studying, your year group, and where you're from? So I will start with who I can see on my screen. I can see Lucy.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm a third year natural sciences student and I'm from London.
Thanks, Lucy. And Isabel.
Hiya, I'm Isabel. I'm a second year liberal arts student majoring in religion, and I'm from Cornwall.
Thanks, Isabel. Amelia.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm a second year student doing philosophy and English lit, and I'm from Kent.
James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm a final year computer science student from Surrey.
Thank you. And Nurem.
Hi, I'm Naram. I'm a second year BA History and International Relations student, and I'm from London.
Thanks, Nurem. And Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a final year business with proficiency in law student, and I'm from Somerset.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, panelists. I was going to say, I think we can stop sharing for now so I can see, because I think I can only see some of the panelists at the moment on my screen. Thanks so much, Ellie. Thank you. Okay. I'm just checking to see that I can see everybody now. Yes, I can see I can see all of you. And I haven't missed anybody out, have I? Have I got everybody? Perfect, perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a question to begin, but everyone in the chat, please do pop your questions in there, and we'll get to as many of them as we can throughout the session. So first question that I'm going to put to the panel is, did you have any preconceived ideas about what support there was at university regarding mental health? And again, using the raise hand function, and I'll call on you. Oh, I'll need someone to go first. Great, Narem.
When I first joined, well, before I joined, I thought that there wouldn't be a supportive system in place purely because I thought that university would be so big, especially from the contrast going from school, sixth form, which is quite small, to university. But then when I joined, I was pleasantly surprised because the support team was really, really good. There's so many different resources that you can use, from your personal tutor or the wellbeing team. And I was just very surprised because I just didn't think that such a big institution would have those types of resources, but also the amount of time it takes them to get back to you. You could just send one email and you'll instantly get a reply within the same day. And whether you want to access that virtually, if you don't feel as confident going in person, or if you want to go in person for additional support, you can. So I thought that was a very pleasant surprise.
Thanks so much, Narem. And who can I see next? Amelia.
I think I had this notion of mental health support as being something quite formal and possibly quite scary to access. And then I learned about the Nightline service, which I think is amazing. And that's the service that you can use and you actually talk to another student. So if it's something you possibly think, oh, I just like to have a casual chat about it with someone who's possibly quite in a similar situation to me, I thought that was really nice, and I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Thanks, Amelia. Thank you. Are there any other answers from anyone else? Okay, can move on to the next question then. And again, as I said before, keep them coming in the chat and we'll look out for your questions. The next question that I have is, how have you found getting support, both academically and dealing with any mental health struggles at Exeter? Great, Lucy, thank you.
In terms of academic, first of all, well, we have personal tutors, and I'm sure everyone else does, and they will especially at the beginning of every term, they will email and say, it's been a while, let's meet up first and see how you're getting on. And they also do that towards the end. And that gives you an opportunity to talk about how you're feeling about your studies, and you can even just talk about your well-being. And obviously they have the power to refer you if, say, if your mental health is struggling, or if there's too much stress going on. So I think that's a very good crossover between them, if there's too much academic stress, because obviously they kind of can go hand in hand sometimes. And in terms of the more mental health well-being, it's, as was mentioned earlier, they're very, very quick to respond if you email them or log an inquiry, and it's very clear outlined all the options, and it's they outline if something's urgent, go to this number. So there's no lagging or waiting around. You always have it's always very clear as well what you're getting into and what the support is, which is really, really nice, because obviously it's such a big university.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks so much, Lucy. And Hannah.
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute then. I was quite lucky to get in contact with the welfare team, and I was referred not by my tutor but by a lecturer that I was closer with. So you don't necessarily have to go through those formal routes if perhaps you have a lecturer or a supervisor or someone that you're closer with on the campus. And the welfare team was really great. I had something that happened to me over the summer, and I didn't think it would sort of affect me coming back into term, but I definitely definitely needed that extra support, and they were able to refer me to the DSA, which is the Disabled Students Allowance. So I not only got additional support through the university, but I got it through government grants as well, which helped with my academics in turn.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for sharing that. And does anyone else want to pop in at this point? No? Okay, all right. I accidentally muted myself. I can move on to the next question in that case. One moment. Is there anything you did in preparation for coming to university or wish you did? What advice would you give to prospective students? Amelia.
So one thing I did was I researched all the different clubs and societies that are on offer at Exeter, which you can find if you look up the Student Guild website, because I thought going from obviously school, which is quite small, to a big university, I thought the community was really important to me. And I thought that doing something I enjoyed with other people would be really important. Can be quite overwhelming and fresh with all the different societies. So I'd recommend getting ahead and having a look at what takes your fancy.
Thanks, Amelia. And how about a few other responses as well? I'm just going to repeat the question again, which is there anything you did in preparation for coming to university or wish you did? What advice would you give to prospective students? Lucy.
When I was applying, it was the unusual time of COVID, so I hadn't actually been able to go to an open day. But one thing I wish I'd done, mainly because of that scenario, but just in general, is when you're applying for accommodation, just looking at like student panels where they discuss different accommodations, the more informal sort of blogs about that. Obviously, bear in mind where they come from, but like societies, like it's a huge part of your life, of course. They're the first people you'll meet, your flatmates, or whether it's catered or self-catered. Like try and consider carefully which one's best for you, because I was in a catered one at first and then I realized it wasn't for me. And the system of like changing accommodation was very, very good. But just so that you don't have the hassle of having to move another time, I'd just recommend giving that thought before you arrive.
Thanks, Lucy. Thank you. And would anyone else like to jump in with their? And again, I'll read it again, which is there anything you did in preparation for coming to university or wish you did? What advice would you give to prospective students? Any other tips and advice?
Mel, I think I can go in on this one. I only graduated like
Thanks, Ellie.
2 or so years ago, so not that long ago. But before I went to university, one of the things I did was research the wellbeing services that they offered at the university, and I also got in contact with those people like before I actually came to university, just to know what I was getting into. So what I'll do is I will send a link in the chat to everybody now. There is a link on the website to the wellbeing services, so you can actually see what's going on at the university before you apply, and also once you've applied. Like, it's absolutely fine for you to reach out and just ask what support that they would offer you if that's something you're worried about, especially from going from such an supportive environment at school and college and sixth form, just being able to know what is available to you and stuff like that. So I'll send that in the chat now for everybody, so you can save that for your research.
Thanks so much, Ellie. Thank you for jumping in there. And just looking through the chat before I move on to a question in the chat, does anyone else have would anyone else like to add anything to the previous question, which was, again, it was about anything you did in preparation for coming to university or wish you did? Any advice that you would like to give? And also, if you can't get the raise hand to work, just throw your hand up. Okay, all right. So a question that's popped into the chat, which actually I think Hannah, you answered. So if you're happy to say this on the recording as well, the question that came in was, is there a specific person allocated to each faculty who can support students with well-being, so that there's one named person you could all go? Hannah, are you happy to say your answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of just replied based on my own experience. I'm sure there's lots of other routes available if anyone wants to correct me or jump in. But everyone, when you start university, you are assigned your own academic tutor. So you can go to them and they can refer you to additional wellbeing support. If you don't have sort of close relationship with your tutor, or you'd rather just send an email, you can also just directly email the welfare team instead of sort of going through that in-person route, if you'd rather just type something out than say it out loud.
Thanks, Hannah. And James, you also contributed to this as well, if you'd be happy to share.
Yes, so each sort of group of subjects based in a building have an education welfare team. And these are basically your first point of call for sort of academic worries, or if your mental health is impacting your studies. So they're really great to be able to give you mitigation, which is where you can either get more time to complete a coursework, or you can delay an exam. For me, they've been absolutely amazing throughout the sort of 3 years of my studies. And I guess they wouldn't be one person, but they're usually two people. But you get assigned this person, so you always work with them, and they can check up on you throughout sort of term as well when it gets busy, and see if you need any support.
Great, thank you, James. And thank you for a great question in the chat. Thank you, Fiona. So another question that's come in is, if someone is neurodiverse, what support is there if they don't yet have a diagnosis? Would anyone be happy to come in on that one?
If nobody has experiences with that specific service, I will say again, the wellbeing service also supports students with disabilities and different neurodiverse conditions. The best thing to do, I would say, about that specifically is, again, reach out to the university and specifically the wellbeing service, because they might be able to assist you in that. I mean, me and Mel don't directly work with the people who do that, but it's absolutely worth reaching out, and you can always email us afterwards. We can see if we can chase an answer. But I know with they offer lots of support for neurodivergent students. They've also got like a autism spectrum conditions transition day, which they help students like navigate university life, just getting them used to that. But again, I can also put some of that information in the chat. I get that the website it is absolutely massive, so I will send that now. But again, the best thing to do is to probably just get in contact with those services, and they will be able to tell you everything they know about supporting students who are neurodiverse, as well as helping them with the diagnosis. So yeah, I'll send that now.
Thanks so much, Ellie. Thank you for amazing co-hosting. Thank you. I think what we'll do is, I think for, and again, keep your questions coming in the chat. It's great to see your questions that are coming in. I think what I will do in this case is I will ask the next few questions, unless anything else pops in, but I may have to just go around to all of you. So I'll just go round to each of you, because I really want to hear your perspectives on it. And I know sometimes putting the hand up can be a bit, you don't want to, it can be a bit intimidating. So I think I'll just go round to each of you, because I really want to hear your experiences. So the next question that we have is, are you a member of any networks or societies that have helped you with balancing your mental health at university? And I'll just start with Lucy.
Would you mind repeating the question one more time? Very sorry.
No problem at all. No problem. Are you a member of any networks or societies that have helped with balancing your mental health at university? I can pop it in the chat as well.
Well, I halfway through my second year, I joined Benchball Society because of one of my housemates did it. James was the STEAM president at the time. And that was really, really nice because a lot of, especially I like sport a lot, but I've never like done one sport consistently, and a lot of them are very, very intense, and so I kind of backed away a bit from that, even though it was something I wanted to do. But then I like realized that if I just delved deeper, there were ones like benchball, for example, which were very relaxed, very, very fun. It wasn't like, you know, super, obviously people could get competitive, but it wasn't, it was just about showing up and having a good time and playing some fun sport together. In case people don't know, benchball's a bit like netball, but it was very, very nice, and it was a sort of release. Like if you were having a bad day on campus, you'd then just be like, okay, it's fine, I've got this later. And you know, you go to see people, and then you know, you could go and go to the Ram, which is the campus pub after. Obviously, you're no pressure to drink, but you know, it's a nice thing to have scheduled in your day. And then obviously there's the socials which come with that, so that was very, very good for me. Yeah, and I also was part of the society for my course, which was obviously more academic, but I'd highly recommend like the sports society, whether it's more competitive or not. But yeah.
Great answer, Lucy. Thank you so much. And Amelia.
So I'm a member of the Soul Choir, which I found really great. We have rehearsals scheduled once a week, and every term we have a couple of gigs, which is super exciting. And your friends come along, and it's like a really nice community, especially because everyone's doing something that they all love together. I'm also a part of the English Society. And like Lucy was saying, with more relaxed sports, I think that's great. Our society runs social netball every week. And so that's just a league where you don't have to try out. Like you could have never done the sport before and just come along. And that's really fun. I'm actually on committee as well for English Society, and I'd really recommend going for committee because it's just such community and really, really nice, really positive thing I found.
Thanks, Amelia. I'm loving hearing about all your experiences with societies and how good they are for your well-being. Thank you. Hannah.
So I was only I'm just about to graduate. I'm still am a student. I'm part of the dance society. I had to be a bit sort of mindful about expenses. I'm from someone who's from a lower socioeconomic background, so I could sort of only commit to one, and even then I didn't go to sort of every single class. But it's mostly made up of girls. It was a really lovely sort of space, again that community focus like Amelia was saying as well, and we also did a couple of competitions, so you get to go around the UK. I think we went to one in Nottingham, one in Surrey most recently, and yeah, just a lovely experience.
Thanks, Hannah. And Narem.
So I'm also a part of the dance society and the hip hop society as well. And I think it's really important to do something aside from education, because I have a lot of reading and writing on my course. So sometimes sitting at my laptop or just constantly reading and writing all the time gets a bit too much. So when I have dance scheduled a few times a week, it sort of gives me a mental break from that. So it's something that I don't have to actively think about, because obviously it's a lot of movement, but also I'm part of the committee, which is really nice because it sort of gives you purpose outside of just academia. So your purpose expands in a range of different departments. And then obviously the community, it's nice to obviously have a different environment of people, because you live with the same people that you might also be on a course with, so you're constantly seeing the same people every day. And whilst that's also lovely, it's nice to see other people as well. And also I like the fact that in a society it ranges from first to third years, so you can also mix with a range of different people from all different courses, which is quite nice.
Thanks, Nuran. No, it's so true that it's great to meet people like who are not on your course, not who you live. It's great to meet them too, obviously. It's great. That's the great thing about university. You meet not only people that you live with and people who are on your course, but you can meet build a lot of really wonderful friendships through societies and clubs. So it's really great to hear. Isabel.
Yeah, I mean, societies have been like so crucial to keeping my mental health good at university. I'm part of 3 different societies. One of them is the contemporary choir, which I'm on committee for. I would hugely recommend to join committees for societies. I think that's such an amazing thing. And in first year, when I had struggled with my mental health a little bit, actually just having something scheduled that you needed to go to is so brilliant because it just gets you out of the house and then you get a sense of accomplishment as well that you've done something. And especially with being on committee, you feel a sense of responsibility to then go out and go to meetings or whatever it is. And so that really makes sure that you're engaging with the community and you know, I don't know, it keeps you involved in a community. So that's really nice. And just like choirs, we've got some great choirs at Exeter, and like singing is so good for your mental health, and I found that. So, and there's also great well-being support through a lot of the societies. So our choir today ran a little bracelet making social out on the lawn behind the business school, which was so nice, and it was a well-being social. So just go and chat, which is really nice.
Thanks, Isabel. Totally agree about singing, by the way. I'm in a choir as well, and it really does absolute wonders for your mental health and well-being. So that's lovely to hear. James.
So obviously benchball has already been mentioned. That was one of the great ways for me to sort of relax and forget about uni studies. The great thing about lots of societies is they have a welfare officer. So if you've got sort of worries, there's a dedicated person within your sort of society and friendship group you can go talk to. I was also a member of Nightline. So I'm no longer volunteering there, so I can now tell people, but I volunteered there for 3 years. So I was one of the people taking calls from students. I found that was really great because it was sort of a community of people who were mental health aware. And we also had sort of charities come in to train us. So we had sort of Samaritans come in and talk to us, and some other awareness charities. So that was really great for my mental health as well.
Thanks, James, and thank you everyone for your great answers. It's really wonderful hearing about your society experiences and again how they can have such a positive impact on not only your own mental health and well-being, but also for others as well. What you can do for other people. A question that popped into the chat a while ago was in terms of work-life balance, what spaces are available for focused study and when are they available? And I can see, James, you've popped in a response there. Would you be happy to repeat that on camera?
Yes, so I can speak for Streatham campus. We have our main sort of study space would be our library. That's over 3 floors and it's open 24/7. The top floor is silent study, the middle floor is sort of quiet study, and the basement level is a group study. So there's really a study space there for everyone. Within there, you can book rooms. So if you have like a group project you want to work on, you can book a room there. And you can also book sort of silent study pods that can be really useful if you've got like a meeting or if you just need to focus. Outside of the library, all of our buildings have study spaces built into them, and I think those are open weekdays 8 till 6. So there's a massive variety of spaces you can use.
Thanks, James. And I can see, Hannah, you'd put in a response on the Penryn campus. Are you happy to repeat that same response on camera?
Yeah, that's fine. So Penryn campus is obviously a bit smaller, so we have a 2-floor library instead of 3. It's also open 24/7. There's group study and individual study spaces. Sometimes you'll need to book it out, sometimes you won't. I do think the benefit of having a smaller campus is often they're not in use because there just aren't as many people using them. I also did put, I probably shouldn't say it on camera, but there is a sensory room in the library as well, and it's not typically used for studying, but it is often free most of the time, and it's a lovely sort of calming environment. It's got like yoga mats and yoga balls and sort of pretty calming lights and things like that. So it's quite nice if the library can be a bit overwhelming and you just need a bit of a quieter space, but don't want absolute silence as well.
Thanks, Hannah. That's great to hear. And I was going to say to the rest of the panel, are there any other spaces that you really particularly like to study in? Or even like not even just campus, like do any of you prefer to study from home? And how do you, if you do prefer working from home, how do you make your space as relaxed as possible? Amelia.
I think another space you can study in is in town, actually. Just go to a cafe. Maybe if you want to get away from campus and all the hectic nature of that, but you don't want to be stuck in at home. I found it's quite nice to just go to a cafe with a friend and yeah, get cracking.
Yeah, cafes can be really nice for working because there's like a lovely like warm buzz around you, and it can help you concentrate sometimes. And again, excuse to go get a nice hot drink as well while you're getting work done. So that's lovely. Tea and a cake. Thanks, Amelia. Isabel.
Yeah, so I'm part of the student Christian movement, so I often use the new Sarah Turville Multi-Faith Centre to study in, just because a lot of my friends are around there. And that reminded me another thing is that the chaplains at the university are really great for mental health support as well. So there's a really nice space.
Thanks, Isabel. Thank you so much for your answer. And does anyone else want to jump in with any other thing? Does anyone actually prefer to work from home at all? Or do you all prefer to work on campus or out in public? Norem.
Yeah, I actually prefer sometimes when it gets closer to exam season or like deadline season to work from home, because sometimes I find that the library can get quite busy, which is quite overwhelming. But yeah, I like to revise either on my desk. Sometimes I even sit on my bed because obviously I'm doing a lot of reading and writing from my laptop, so I don't actually need to write anything. And I feel like that's also quite nice. Or like sometimes I'll go into my living room and I'll sit with my other housemates and we'll do work because it's still a quiet environment, but then we're all motivating each other by all working around obviously the same table. So yeah, that's quite nice.
That is really nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. I'm just taking a little look at the chat. I can see a question came in about societies and how much societies cost, and do you have to pay a monthly fee, or is it all at the start of the year? And as was answered in the chat by Hannah, yeah, absolutely, it does depend on your society. Whatever the different societies have different membership fees. Some are some are quite low cost, some are a bit higher cost, and you can just look around and see what fits your budget well, and what can work for you. So yeah, it really does vary. I was going to say actually Hannah and I can see Hannah, Lucy, and James, you've put responses. So are you happy to say your responses on camera? I'll go with Hannah first.
Yeah, so this is just from memory. I think Norem might be better placed to talk about this than me because she was on the committee. Is on the committee. I keep saying was, I'm so sorry. But I think per class it was about £3, and then the membership joining fee was £10. And then if you wanted to do additional kind of things like the competition, like I mentioned earlier, I think that was about £120, and that covered sort of staying in a hotel, the bus travel. But you did have to sort of pay for your own food expenses and things like that.
Thank you. And Lucy.
Well, again, I think technically James would probably be better, more qualified at giving a better response. But I was just saying that it depends. Like some societies are athletics, the AU are AU based, which is the athletics union, and they tend to be a bit more expensive because, like for example, if you do something like rowing and stuff, you're covering the cost of the equipment and the training sessions, for example. But other like guild-based societies, So AU ones can like sometimes be well, you know, over £100 for the year. I know rugby I think was about 200, but then new Benchball, for example, a year membership was £30. So it very much varies, but I think James would probably have more to say on that. Yeah.
Thanks, Lucy. In that case, over to you, James.
Yeah, so the good thing about societies is they're run by students, so we set the fees when you're on committee. So it's nice to hear sort of £30 being very affordable, because, you know, we tried when I was making that decision to make it quite affordable. Another thing to mention is we have funding available. So we have lots of bursaries and sort of support accessible. And one of them is specifically for joining societies and for joining sports clubs. So we have a fund specifically for that, that if you meet the criteria, you can apply for that, and then they will pay for some of your society membership.
Great, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, as I said before, everyone, if you've got questions in the chat, I can see Ellie, you jumped in on a question that came into the chat, and you mentioned, which was about potentially going into care itself, like as in wanting to become a carer, and find out about volunteering opportunities for care in that area. And I can see you said that on the Guild's website there are a lot of volunteering opportunities. So yeah, volunteering can also be a great way to spend your time at university, putting yourself forward for different volunteering opportunities that we have. So there's a link in the chat if any of you would be interested in volunteering at university. It is there. So yeah, we're not too far away from like coming towards the final 10 minutes or so of the session, of the panel session. So just looking at any questions, yeah, please do continue to post your questions. I can see here a question that's popped in just now. Is there a difference in cost between 39 weeks and 365 days in terms of cost of living? Is anyone able to come in on that question? I think this is the type of thing it'd be worth checking the accommodation website if you have questions about costs for different setups in terms of whether you're there for the year. Yeah, thanks, James. You could put that there. You've put in the chat that if you look on the university's accommodation site, there are, yeah, as I said, many options available, whether that's for the year. James, are you happy to come in?
Yeah, sorry, I was typing out my response as you were sort of asking for people to sort of chip in there. So accommodations, we do have a lot of different options, and there are different contract lengths, but we also have sort of third-party providers in town, so private halls and houses. So it's kind of hard to put a specific number on that, and it's hard to also say sort of the length of contract. You've just asked about accommodation over holidays. I'm just looking in chat. So catered accommodations for the University of Exeter, you can't stay over holidays. So during Easter and Christmas, you'd have to move out. For standard self-catered options, you can stay in, but the tenancy ends in sort of mid-June. So typically it'd be from mid-September to mid-June.
Great, thanks so much, James. Thank you. I can't see any other questions at the moment. So everyone who's in attendance, this is your last chance to ask any final questions. But I do have a question for you all, which is, and I think I'll go through each of you, which is, do you have any other recommendations or top tips for looking after your mental health at university? And I'll go with who I can first see on my screen, which is James. I'll just ask that again, which is, do you have any other recommendations or top tips for looking after your mental health at university?
Talk to people. So if you feel that things are getting bad, it's so easy at university when you're in a different environment to sort of stay in your room and to not talk to people. But we have so many different options, whether that's your housemate, whether that's residence life, Nightline, or wellbeing services, or whether you want to look outside the university to something like Samaritans or Shout. There are so many different options available. So don't suffer in silence. If you feel like things are getting really bad, talk to someone.
Thanks, James. And the next person I can see is Nurem.
I think it's really important to build a support system at home, so maintaining it when you're going to university, because sometimes you can get carried away with making lots of new friends and you might not focus on your family from home or your friends from home as much. But I think it's really important to not only establish a support system where you have your friends and just other people at university, but then also at home, so that when you're in one place or the other, you don't feel like an imposter, because sometimes people will go home and because they've been detached from their home life, it sort of feels a bit weird to get back into, but then vice versa with university. You could then come to university and because you've relied on home so much and not really branched out, it can feel a bit like a bit of an imposter coming back. So I think having that balance and making sure you maintain both home life and university life to have that support will get you excited to go wherever you're going back, whether it's for the holidays or back to term time. So normally at the end of the holidays, I get so excited to go back to uni, but then at the end of uni, I get so excited to go back to home. And I think that's really important because it enables you to feel more safe and more just comfortable generally.
Thanks so much, Nurem. Thank you. And next person I can see is Isabel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my advice would be try not to hold yourself to a really like high standard in terms of how easy it should be going to university. Like it's a huge thing to do. Like I think it gets so missed how massive that is for a lot of people to be moving away from home for the first time. Celebrate the small victories, celebrate, every accomplishment that you're able to make, celebrate being able to like cook for yourself every night. That's amazing. And try not to compare yourself to like other people or think, oh, everyone else is finding this way easier than me. I remember first time I was in halls in first year and I was a bit upset and missing home, and I was chatting to one of my flatmates and we hardly knew each other, and she was like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm really upset as well, and I think I'm finding it a little bit difficult, and I think it's easy to miss that that is such a common experience and it's normal to find it a little bit difficult settling in, and so yeah, try and be appreciative of yourself and what an amazing thing you're doing. So
Thanks so much, Isabel. Thank you. And the next person I can see is Amelia.
I think I would say, obviously when you're coming to university, it's a new experience. Like there are lots of different new things you can try. I think I would say definitely explore, but try not to spread yourself too thin. As in the first year, I sort of found myself wanting to try out everything and meeting lots of different people, but from lots of different areas. And so it was sort of quite hard to find a sort of deeper connection and like maintain those friendships. And so instead I decided I'd like just focus on a few areas. So yeah, definitely try things, but don't spread yourself too thin, as it can be quite exhausting and tricky.
Thanks, Amelia. This is all great advice that I've been hearing so far, so thank you so much. Lucy.
I'd say it's also important to remember to change up your routine a little, and by that I kind of just mean a small like change in environment, or if you because it's you find yourself on sort of as I call it, like a sort of grind of you go to the same supermarket to get your food shop, you go to campus to do your studies, to go to your lectures. You're at home if you like. If you go to a society, you probably go to the same location for that, or go to the same gym. And then you just feel like it's quite repetitive. So sometimes that does get quite mundane, and you do feel a bit, you feel a bit overwhelmed and burnt out. But sometimes something as simple as whether that's like with a friend, like just going out, just for a wander, just to try like go to a new shop, try out a new coffee shop, just do something for yourself, even if it's just for an hour, even if you do have a lot going on, just having that break just for a little bit, whether it's again by yourself or with friends, like it does make a big difference, and you kind of explore around you a little more, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go very far, but there is also the beach nearby and stuff. That's something that I know now that the weather's nice, a lot of friends of mine have just spontaneously just gone there for a bit during exam season. So just changing up your environment or what you actually do in your day is also really good.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, that's the nice thing about Exeter is that you're surrounded by a lot of different types of environments. So, you know, you've got the city, you've got the countryside nearby, and you've got the sea nearby. So there's lots of different ways in which you can channel your well-being from an environmental point of view. Thank you, Lucy. And lastly, Hannah.
I think this is probably a bit more personal, but I think doing laundry is like one of my favorite things in the world, and it just makes me happy. Especially if it's like raining outside or something and you can't go on a walk, then just like having a declutter of your room or doing your laundry. I love doing that.
No, that's a great story. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks everyone for those answers. They were great. It was really fantastic to hear. I can see that there was a really good question in the chat some of you have gone into already, which was, are there any safe spaces on campus where you can go if needed? And Ellie, you've kindly put in a response, which is our link to, quiet spaces on campus. Which, if you just go into the chat, everyone, if you want to take a look at that, just go through to the link there. It's through for if you're looking at this from a later date, students wellbeing Devon resources quiet spaces, and if you just type search quiet spaces into the University of Exeter website, you should find it. Hannah, are you happy to pop in with your response? Actually, let me just see. Oh, yeah, both actually, Hannah and James, if you're happy to jump in with what you wrote in the chat.
Sorry, was that to the safe spaces question?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So I kind of just popped in about campus security. So they'll be wandering around sort of like student halls, not actually inside the building, but outside. There's also an app that you can use. I forget the name, which is really bad. I don't know if someone else can remember it. But that's sort of like you can... thank you. I can remember the name. I've never had to use it personally, but it's good to know it's there. And the campus is always really well lit as well. So that's good.
Thanks, and thanks, Hannah. And James, are you happy to pop in?
Yeah. So in terms of quiet spaces as well, I think all campuses have them now. But again, speaking to Streatham, because that's where I study, we have a room called Exhale, and it's really near to like the library, to all the shops in the sort of forum, which is our main building. And it's just a nice space to go to sort of relax, get away from some of the noise. It's got like weighted blankets and comfortable seating. And it's a really nice place to go, basically, if you start getting a bit overwhelmed.
Great, thank you so much. And I think as we're a couple of minutes away from the end of the panel, I think that is a great question to conclude on. So thank you all so much, panelists, and thank you to our brilliant group of attendees who've joined us today. Thank you for all your amazing questions. And what we're going to do now is, Ellie, if you're happy to pop the PowerPoint up again. Oh, can see it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Perfect. So if you're happy to pop up the PowerPoint again, Ellie has kindly put in the evaluation form for today's session. Please do fill in this evaluation form. It helps us out a lot. It enables us to continue doing events like this. It enables us to keep doing them. But more importantly, we just love to hear your thoughts anyway. We love to hear your own thoughts about sessions that you take part in, so we can also continue to improve for the future. I think if you're unable to get onto
it is froze, unfortunately, now.
Oh, no worries.
Which is so much fun.
That's okay. Not to worry at all. Oh, it's tech. So yeah, if you just please do fill in the form in the chat, and if you can't access the form for any reason, just drop an email at subjectoutreach@exeter.ac.uk if you can't click on the link for any reason. And just to remind you as well, that there are other Discover University student experience sessions coming up very, very soon. So this month On Thursday, the 22nd of May, we've got studying as an LGBTQ+ student at the University of Exeter. That's coming up on the 22nd of May. And then we have got our final Discover University student experience session, which is on Thursday, the 5th of June. And this one will be making friends and creating support networks at the University of Exeter. And as per usual, recordings of our previous panel will be available on the Discover University YouTube channel if you want to listen back to any of these fantastic sessions and listen to these wonderful panelists, student panelists that we've had with us today. It's been fantastic hearing about your experiences. I can see a comment in the chat saying thank you all. This has been a very informative panel, which it has. So, and that's all down to yourselves. Thank you so much for being brilliant today. So what channel is that? Discover, question that's just popped into the chat is, what channel is that? It's Discover University. So if you look at Discover University, you should be able to link to the YouTube channel, Discover University. And yeah, there's also a website as well, which I can pop a link in a second. I'll see if I can get the link to our Discover web pages. One moment. And I'll just get that for you. There we go. So I'm just going to send you to the Discover website. There we go. Yeah, there you go. So there's a link to the Discover website, and then you should be taken through to the YouTube channel through there. But otherwise, I think those questions are finished now. So it is 6:59. So we are done in time. Thank you all so much. Thank you, student panelists, for your time. It's been great. Thank you, Ellie, for amazing co-hosting. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope to see you at the next Discover University Student Experience panel. And hope you all have lovely evenings. Thank you so much. And have a great evening. Thank you.